I'm Giuseppe Leonardi and this is Derek Cook. We work for RBS and we're here representing security and resilience to help educate you about fraud and financial crime. Derek and I both have worked in many different capacities in the financial crime industry for the financial institutions, and we both kind of enjoy this type of event where we're able to directly interact with customers to help them protect themselves. And just a bit about myself, I'm Italian American, so the name Giuseppe Leonardi, obviously Italian, the accent is a bit American, and my wife is Polish. That's how I learned Polish. So, and I'll hand over to Derek now to give him a brief overview of who he is, and he'll kick off.
Sure, no bother. Unfortunately, my wife isn't Polish, and so I can't really follow that. So I'm afraid you're just stuck with me as I am. So my name's Derek Cook. I work for Royal Bank of Scotland, Security Resilience. I'd like to take the opportunity, first of all, to thank Olivia for extending the invite out to us. It's a real honour and a privilege to be here to speak to you guys. What are we trying to do here? Well, I think the first thing is, working through the introduction, I want to give something to you guys that you can use in your everyday personal life with your own personal banking, as well as your work format and when you're in business as well. So what we're going to share with you tonight, you can apply to both, so you can apply it to kind of cross-wide range of your life, whether it's in business or personal. Second thing is, we want to make it is simple, and it is not my intention tonight to insult anyone's intelligence, so we're going to be saying things like, don't give out PIN numbers over the telephone, okay, to people you don't know. Now, please don't take offence at that, because I know you guys are smart and that you wouldn't do that. It's what we're trying to do is, these are the key issues that we see in our everyday battle against fraud prevention. A lot of this stuff is simple, okay, and a lot of the mistakes that people make are simple, and the mistakes are made by intelligent, clever people who have lots of competing things going on all at one time, and it's a mistake. So please, that's the second thing. Third thing is, we don't want to scare anyone, okay? It's just to be cognizant and mindful of the things that can happen. So that's the kind of main introduction. Fraud is a business. I started in fraud prevention nearly 20 years ago. And I've seen it become from a thing that maybe sometimes, don't want to stereotype, but some clever students did to get extra money, and there was little scams or whatever, but now it is multi-billion-pound industry worldwide. I think it's a common conception, certainly in Britain in the past, that the fraudsters were it was white collar crime, it was quite soft, victimless crime and whatever. But what we see is we liaise with law enforcement in a day-to-day business, and we can absolutely confirm that it's a lot of organised crime, dealing in serious issues, whether it be people trafficking, drugs, kind of pretty nasty, kind of nefarious activities. You can see with some of the losses that are called out, £27 billion and 2.5 million reported incidents of cybercrime. So it's a huge, massive business and a big deal as well. So it's the kind of just the perception it is a business to a lot of organised crime groups as well. So that's kind of key thing to call out. Vishing, phishing. I'm going to cover these very quickly, just in terms of the analogy is phishing. You're clearly phishing with something a worm in the end of the hook, okay, and the PH comes from, I think it was people who used to test or try to get weaknesses in telecommunication systems, and they were called freaks, freaks, P-H-R-E-K-S. So the PH from the phishing is just simply, you're phishing, you're trying to trick people out, and the phishing is made by email. Vishing, the V for the phishing is just simply because it's voice, so it's voice phishing, okay? It's pretty much all the same stuff, it's just using a different medium and ever so slightly different tricks, really. But it's pretty much linked in. So phishing is your email, vishing is by voice via the telephone, and we've got a good example that we're going to play just very shortly to let you hear an example of phishing and how people are engineered voice-wise, and then we'll cover what you can do to kind of watch that and kind of counter that and have kind of countermeasures in place and best practice. We're then going to cover malware and the ransomware, so I'll do malware, Giuseppe will cover ransomware. Smishing, sincere apologies, I didn't make it up, but this is just the SMS version of phishing or Vishing, so we'll have smishing. In fact, we had a case, or a suspected case via Twitter, leading in, it was a false Twitter feed, and somebody was suggesting that we call it twishing, but I think we decided enough's enough. So, okay, so if we just move quickly on. Vishing then, V for voice, the fraudster impersonates the bank over the telephone, okay? What they will tend to do is they'll claim that there's a problem with the account which requires urgent action, and again we'll play this to you as a, just to kind of set the scene. They convince you to disclose the confidential information, PINs, passwords to help resolve the problem, and the information will be used real time to access your account and transfer funds. Okay, so they're moving very, very quickly. Sometimes they're moving on their own, sometimes they've got you on the phone and there's someone else that they're relaying the information to real time to get into their accounts and to perpetrate the fraud. Okay, so anyone can be a victim, and anyone can be a victim, and I think this is one of the key things that I need to stress here, that these fraudsters are good. Okay, so I think when you analyse the case in a fraud context, when you've got your fraud hat on and you're sitting and you're not in the situation, it's very easy maybe to say, oh well, how silly, yeah? But that isn't really the case, and the trickery on the social engineering is actually how convincing it is. And you know, we've had very, people who you would not have bet falling for this, and I think that's quite a key thing to stress. So anyone can be a victim. Vishing can also be mixed in terms of, some of it can be vishing, it can be tied into the malware aspect of it as well. If you're in doubt, or if there is a problem, or if you're concerned in any way, shape or form, terminate the call, okay? Especially if you've been asked to provide smart codes or any online banking credentials, or alternatively, if somebody's asked you to hand over a plastic card as well. We went through a series of frauds a number of years ago where it was called courier fraud, yeah. And what would happen is they would target customers and say, hi, it's the bank, we're concerned, we've just been doing a check on a card, we think there's something wrong with your card. So what we're going to do is we're going to send a courier around to pick up the card. They'll be from the bank, they'll have identification, and what we'll need to do as well is if you've got the PIN, because we'll need the PIN to rectify the card, and then the card will come out, yeah? Now, this is targeted more at a certain segment of the population, and this is where we found it, and it was maybe age driven, but not it wasn't exclusively, but this is something that we saw. So if any of that happens, clearly, don't feel pressurised into providing information and verify the caller why they are. If you are unsure in any way, don't reveal any information. Now, call the bank as soon as you can from an independent number. So get the independent number, say for instance from the web, or from, sometimes it's from your card.
Even your mobile app will have a number on it if you have an RBS mobile app.
Yeah. So call back from an independent number, and where possible, use a different phone line. So what we found, or what has been an industry problem, is that you put the phone down, you think, right, no chance. You put the phone down, and you think, do you know what, I'm going to phone back, and you use the same phone, and you dial in. So the fraudster can keep the phone line open for a period of time. And in that period of time, then obviously you're phoning back and you're saying, hello, is that the bank? So, yes, it is. Of course it is, because the call's not been terminated. The kind fraudster then validates it as the bank, and the fraud's perpetuated. So it's important to phone from an independent line if you can. Okay. Just going to cover smishing. So this is the text message one, okay, and do you know what, it's the same trick, slightly different kind of perpetrator, but same perpetrator, slightly different trick. Text message, sender impersonates well-known companies, and the purpose is to get you to click on a link. That is what they're wanting to do. They're wanting you to do. And what I would say is, on Smishing, there's a couple of key bits of advice. So the customer gets a text message pretending to be from the bank, and it asks the customer to click on this, say on a link, okay? The link takes the user to a fake website, clearly, and then what it will be asked to do is to put in customer number, a PIN or a password, because what it's doing is it's harvesting that data then that they can go in and use. The details are provided, automatically transferred to the fraudster. He goes on to a separate website, and what you'll tend to find is that the user will be held in some sort of holding pattern while all the criminal activity is going on in the background and the fraud's being committed. The user's then requested to provide a card reader code to complete the login. So obviously with the card reader code, that's pretty much that's the keys to the crown jewels, and it's complete. Card reader code's automatically transferred to the fraudster, who can approve the setup of the payee and transfer the funds out of account. So, you know, if you do have to make a judgment call whether it's genuine or not, okay, because a lot of the things we're talking about there, they are used in the real world legitimately, and they are exploited by fraudsters, so it is a balance. What you can guarantee though is, if it's from the bank and you click on the link, if it takes you to a page where you are requested to put in PINs, passwords or anything like that, we will not do that. Okay, so if that link takes you to a cover site where you have to put in a user ID or a PIN or anything like that, we will not do that. So that's clear. Secondly, I think that when you see with modern, obviously with the text the way it is now, on most of your phones you'll have a text stream. So if you've had previous text from the bank, it should be legitimate, because it will tie into that text stream. If it's out with that, then that's potentially a problem. Third thing is as well, and it's one that's slightly less obvious, but if it's just simply an IP address and nothing else, and it's just simply an IP address, that is cause for at least to question it. If there's nothing else there, and no narrative or anything, and it's just simply an IP address, that should act as a kind of amber flag, if you like, just to be slightly to be wary of it. So those are the key things. What we would say is, if in doubt, just ignore it. Okay.
But the next topic we're going to go through is phishing. Again, another form of social engineering, where criminals try to get you as an individual or their victims to make decisions that are potentially negative for themselves. So, who here has received suspicious emails before? I'm pretty sure all of you. Who here has clicked on any links in the emails?
We're watching you.
Yeah. Who here has potentially opened an email that had an attachment that you might have clicked? People do it, and if you don't know any better, it can happen. And the problem is they make these things so good, these emails, that you want to click on them. As we talked about earlier, Amazon, you click the link and then it takes you somewhere else, or you get an email in saying that your UPS delivery is here or whatnot. You're going to want to click on it. But phishing is definitely one of the most prevalent types of social engineering attacks that we see right now. These criminals, what they do is they create an email that looks legitimate, like a legitimate company. It could potentially come from your organization. What they'll do is they'll get a hold of potentially a lot of people, Polish addresses, email addresses. They'll take an image, a copy of one of your actual emails, and they'll just create their own version of it. And what they'll do is they'll send that out to every email address they have, hoping that a certain percentage of people will either click on a link or go to open the attachment. So what the main goal for these guys is to do is to collect data that they can use to commit financial crime. That's all they want. They want data, whether they use it themselves or sell it on the dark web. They want your information, and this is the method in which they're going to use to do it. So there's two options, and one is they send you an email, and they want you to click on a link. In most cases, this link will send you to a page where it's asking you to put in data or log on to what is a face front of a banking website, login page. They want you to go in and give as much data as they can get from you. And they'll ask you everything from your birthday, your mother's maiden name, anything that they might be able to use to commit fraud. Or what they'll do is they'll send you to a link that will send you to a compromised website that will put malware onto your computer that will, again, try and harvest data that they can use to commit fraud. And then the second one is by opening up an attachment, what will happen is that attachment will then put malware onto your computer. In most cases, these are financial malware specifically designed to capture banking information. And these guys, it happens to everybody. We get so many customers who get their computers compromised and their data is being used in various different methods. And it's a shame, but there are simple steps that you can take to protect yourself. So this is an example of one of the phishing emails. So you can see at the top, it says support@natwest.co.uk. That's what you see when you open the email, and that's from the sender. That looks great. It looks from NatWest. We're happy, you're happy, but it's not from us. If you hover your mouse over top of that address on your computer, you'll see an underlying URL. On this case, it's awn520@vu.nl. So by hovering over that, you can clearly see that that is not going to where it says it's going. That's the number one indicator that you could tell that that email is suspect. And if you get that, there's addresses that you can send those to get, in most cases, get them to those sites taken down. And for RBS, you can do phishing at RBS, and every organization has their own. But you can see, so in this one here, what they've done is they've taken an actual email that we send out to customers, copied it, and made it into an email that they can actually use. So that all they did was they changed the URL from the sender, so that's easy. They have a link here. Criminals want you to click onto that link. That's a fake website. In this instance, that would have sent you somewhere where you would have had to put in banking details to log in. As you log in, they see you in real time, take all of your money. And then what they also do, and they're tricky, is they'll leave email addresses, phone numbers that we include that are actual legitimate phone numbers. That way, if you were to call it, you would get through to the genuine bank. They do that to, again, make it seem all legitimate. Only thing they're changing in this instance is that link. So if you get emails in, first of all, check to see where it was from. And don't click on any links. It's the safest thing. But if you hover over that link, if it says it's going to NatWest login, and you hover over it, it says it's going to somewhere else, then obviously you know that that is not a true email. And then some of the things that they do here is targeting certain companies to gather information on companies, and this is where it might play to some of you guys. If you have a company and they get a hold of your details through company's house, they might use another method of harvesting information that they can use to trick you by emailing people who work for you. In most cases, us, RBS, it's as Giuseppe Leonardi at rbs.co.uk. So if you can just guess that, put all the people that you can find that work at RBS, and you can send that email out. You can try and trick people by getting them to open up certain things. In this case, that's from your company.co.uk. They spoof the address to make it look like it's from you, and spoofing is where I mentioned the overlying link is changed underneath, and that's what they call spoofing. And most of the times, what they'll do is they'll make it seem urgent. They want you to click on it quickly. So to correct your taxes, to pay your taxes, you have a fine. Different things that they'll try whatever method they can do to make you click on it, and they'll use genuine companies. A lot of them that Derek's mentioned before, and they'll most cases they'll want you to think that it's critical. You have to do it now, and again they just want you to get you off guard and go through. So before you do anything, try to put some controls in place by letting people know that no payments, for instance, can be keyed via email with one person. Two people have to verify it. Two people have to look at it. That means it will slow it down. That way you guys can have time to think, is this the right thing to do? Is this the right customer? Is this the right person that we're sending this to? Again, this is what it looks like. So you have a link, and this link is legitimate in this email. It looks like it was sent from us again, so it was spoofed. That is our correct phone number. That is our correct link. The only thing that's not good in this whole email is the attachment. And in most cases, you'll see the attachment in an email, and it can be from any organization. That's the holy grail for them. You click on that, your computer's been infected with malware, which we'll cover later, one of which could be a keylogger, where after this point, they can see everything you key. So if you're keying numbers in repeatedly, and they can match it up. They can see, well, that's probably the account number. That looks like a sort code. That looks like a password potentially. Bam, I've got that. Now I could use that to log into your online banking, and there you go. And you've given it to them unknowingly. And even if you deleted the email, and it's still there. And some antivirus software will pick it up, some won't. And these things are cleverly designed, and they're always updating these financial malware. So phishing is definitely a big issue. For instance, I'll give you an example. If they send out email to 1,000 people, 20 to 30 will respond or click on the link or the attachment. That's a good turnaround, especially if you're in marketing. You'd love that. That's a great turnaround. However, and for these guys, they're loving it. That's 20 to 30 people they might potentially be able to steal money from. So it's big. We've seen instances where criminals are harvesting email addresses, sometimes through genuine means. If you sign up for a membership somewhere, they might sell that data on if you didn't read the fine print, and eventually it gets to the criminals. And we've seen one after an investigation with law enforcement that had 78 million email addresses on one storage device. So they have your emails. You give your email out how many times, a week? It's out there for them to take. So if you haven't received a phishing email as of now, I can guarantee you will in your lifetime. So if you're a business and somebody's sending you an invoice from what looks like a company that you might interact with, you might open that. And there you go, you're compromised. So we recommend, this is about Microsoft Office. I won't go into the detail. If you want some more technical knowledge, we can pick up with you afterwards. But there are some controls you can put. But we always recommend downloading, keeping up to date antivirus software. And there's also another solution that we offer from RBS that we will discuss later.